And now, your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling with Friends. Back with me is the co-host with the momos, Jeffrey Dye. And here is your news of the week. First off, thank you to the Federation and the Frienderation for your continued support. We love you, we appreciate you, and thank you for helping the show grow. Secondly, WWE has unveiled a new women's undisputed championship, but fans are left a bit confused by the undisputed in the undisputed name on the title. WWE's TV rights negotiations with Fox and NBC have expired, and this now allows WWE to discuss media deals with other partners. Listen this Thursday for bonus content as we give you our take on the topic. In AEW news, the debut of AEW Collision is this Saturday live from Chicago with CM Punk. And also in AEW, the Forbidden Door, which for those of you who are not in the know, is no longer forbidden because this is the second time it's happened. This time, the dream match, Bryan Danielson versus Okada. Ah, what a time to be a wrestling fan. Good evening and good luck. Jeff, I'm out of breath, sir. That was the hardest work of this episode, was the intro, because wrestling was lovely this week.
What people don't know is that you do those every time in one take, and it's magic. The one take every time.
Asshole.
Every time.
That's what they call me.
It's impressive.
One take, Freddie.
It's impressive. How are you, brother?
Good, sir. I just wrapped a movie. I'm really happy with the experience. I had a great experience on it. Got to even shoot in Los Angeles, which never happens. We were shooting nights the last week. I'm 47 years old. I forgot that might be harder than it was in my 20s, but I survived. I'm feeling good. I got to watch wrestling even while I worked instead of whistling, and I'm feeling good. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling good. Traveling a bunch. Happy to be back on the pod. A little too much traveling.
That's the life, though, man. That's you guys. You gotta travel. It's not like the old medieval times where you just got to have one court jester and you just go make the king laugh for an hour.
You ever been to Medieval Times, the restaurant?
Hell yeah. Medieval Times rules.
I went to it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing. No way. Yeah, and I went dressed as a jester because all my friends were like, we're going to dress up. And so one of my friends was a king. One of my friends was like a sorcerer. A lot of the girls just dressed as like hot maids or wenches. And I was like, what would I be? I was like, oh, and back in those times, I'd have been a jester. So I went and got a full jester costume. And I was a little disappointed to find out that they don't have an actual jester. I wanted to pitch them the idea of, listen, how about this? The VIP package.
You should.
The VIP package, you get tomatoes that you can throw at I'll come out. I'll do 5 minutes of bad jokes about the king, and then the queen could go, silence this clown, and then everyone throws tomatoes at me, and that's just part of my show. I'm like a 10-minute part of the show where the jester comes out and tells bad jokes.
Did you pitch this to someone there?
No, but I want to.
Okay, we're cutting this clip. We're tagging Medieval Times, and I'm sending it there. Jeff, oh my God.
It'd be so fun.
Would go, look, I've been with Macaulay Culkin a couple times because he freaking loves it.
It's fun there.
He's been like 100 times, and like the whole time you just want to do the scene from Cable Guy, by
For
the way.
sure.
Where you just go in and have battle. But it's so awesome. There's no shame in my game. I'm on a professional wrestling podcast. If you think what I like sucks, screw you.
Yeah, dude.
But I love Medieval Times. I think that idea is amazing. I think Medieval Times would think that idea is amazing. The greatest side quest ever on this podcast.
Well, they're just trying to fill time.
The genius of it is you're not even doing current material. You said you do bad jokes on the king
on purpose.
On the fictional characters portrayed by theater.
I bomb every night I bomb, so they get to throw tomatoes. The tomatoes, I'll just wear it, be a heel. How dare you? I'm the jester.
How dare you?
It was fun.
I'm the jester.
I also like eating with my hands, so that place was cool for that.
All right, sir. Let's get serious. It's time to do what we're paid to do. Although I think the people are enjoying this as even more than I am. All right. So we're going to start with Monday Night Raw, as always. If I skip any matches that you want to discuss, by all means, I'm going to hit the ones that I felt were awesome. And I'm starting with Gunther, who is growing on me, not like a fungus, not like a wart that you don't want, but a wart that you do. It might be a magical wart. You lick it and maybe you get powers. But I'm starting to like Gunther, and it was versus Kevin Owens. Now, my son's favorite wrestler is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has even made a video for my son because he's an awesome dude. And he talked trash on my daughter and her favorite wrestler, Bobby Lashley, in the video. It was an awesome promo. And my son was like, yo, what? It was bugging out. So this is my son's favorite wrestler. And we watch Monday Night Raw together most of the time. So we sit down and this match starts. And Kevin Owens took a whooping in this match, man. He still hit all his like big spots, but the first part of the match was all Gunther, and he made this guy look great. And my son is watching Kevin Owens get the holy hell beat out of him. He's 10. He's the perfect age for especially the first hour of Raw, right? Because that's when a lot of kids are watching TV. And he's sitting there yelling, he goes, Dad, why won't he fight back?
He's trying.
I said, he's trying, dude. He's trying. This guy's humongous. Well, he's going to win. And we know he's going to win, Dad. And so I go, yeah, he's going to win. Don't worry. And so we're watching. And as the match unfolds, we start seeing Kevin make his comeback. And he does that great flipping cannonball. And Corey Graves, I think, said, clear the decks because here he comes. And he just like runs across. I friggin' love Corey Graves. And he flips and blam. And it looks so good. And my son jumps off the couch and goes, that's right, suck it. And yells it out loud. And then the horrible, unfortunate ending, which was good. It was the right way to end the match, but not for my son. And Gunther ends up getting the win in this. And Rocky's so pissed off. That's my son's name for those of you who don't know. He's so pissed off. He gets up, almost trips over our biggest dog, Sato, and goes, Sato, I'm sorry. I'm just mad. And he walks into the pantry to get some chips. Like he couldn't even deal with it. So it was good, even though he was mad. And we had a great time watching it. What did you think of the match? Did you like it as much as a 10-year-old?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I'm a big Gunther fan, big Kevin Owens fan. I will say this about Gunther. He's still doing the thing that I criticize most about all the wrestlers that I used to watch like when I was a kid. He's committed to just the like underwear and boots. Like there's no pants. Kevin Owens has been in wrestling for 75 years. We've never seen him with his shirt off. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. But that being said,
like it.
I do like him. And it does fit the Imperium like old school.
We're men and naked.
Yeah, the word we don't want to say, but Nazis, let's be honest. Very much
Christ.
looks like this like
old school, Jeff.
yeah,
the term is
old school. We all know what they're flirting with out there.
But boy, are they flirting. Jesus.
But Kevin Owens, I thought was going to win the match. All the mischief on the side with all the Imperium boys and Sami Zayn. It was good.
The referees on Raw this week, you were so easily distracted.
Step it up.
Almost in every single match. F for all WWE referees on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Y'all got an F grade for. I'm a ref snitch, and y'all just got snitched on.
Also, baseball is one of the hardest sports to change. And they don't like change. They don't like messing with things. It's America's pastime. Even they have review. Why can't we get review in wrestling? You know, that somebody in the back goes, I think that there was some cheating. Let's go back. Let's make sure we get the calls right. Let's bring the review to WWE.
How about some ref reviews at the end? Corey Graves even did something smooth this week where he's going to lose a couple $1,000s for that one, insinuating that there's fines for your fuckery.
Was that like on the spot thing that you think he made up?
He made it up on I think he made it up on the fly.
Oh, that's
He
great.
made it up on the fly.
I would love if they
for
said
sure.
that.
That's inside, like even though it's fictional, it's inside. And I don't think that's something Vince would throw at him. I think that's all Corey Graves. That dude's super talented.
This was my match of the week. It was just classic. Went back and forth, had all the things you like. I'm a big fan of Gunther and Kevin Owens. I'd also, this is off subject, but I'd love to someday see Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens together. Not against each other, but like as like a tag team. Like those two guys.
The fuzzy bros, they both have the fuzzy beards,
They're the most athletic
like
guys.
Jim Tomey.
Yeah, they're like super athletic, but they don't have that chiseled kind of thing going.
Yeah, it's just genetics, man. Roy Jones Jr. said it best. He was talking about James Toney at heavyweight when he was commentating. And they were saying, yeah, but he's out of shape. He goes, he's not out of shape. He's faster than this guy. He can fight 20 rounds, not 12. he goes, it's just genetics. He goes, when he was in middleweight, he didn't have any muscles on his body. That's genetics. It's not that he was out of shape. He's a world-class athlete. So there's nothing wrong with saying someone looks like a refrigerator with arms and legs. He's still super badass.
Heck yeah, he's badass. I love those guys. But anyways, that'd be something I just thought of today that I was like, maybe I'll bring that up on the podcast. It'd be cool to see those guys.
They sell washer dryer sets. They sell fridge freezer sets. You could sell me on some Owens Wyatt sets. Moving on. The only other match on Raw that I really loved, although I think you'll like another one that we can for sure talk about. It wasn't built up, so I didn't care too much. The World Heavyweight Champion. I usually say worlds. The World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. I saw some photos of old Damian Priest compared to what he looks like now. Have you seen these online?
No.
Full body transformation.
Really?
Got healthy, got super handsome, got awesome, and what a transformation. Unless I saw fake pics, but I don't think they were.
Well, it's kind of like Gunther. Gunther was all chubby and big.
Oh, for real. Yeah, you're right. But this is like dramatic. He was like fat, gothic, like 80s goth.
Really?
And just not, and then you see him now and you're like, dog, you like be the lead in a movie. It's crazy, dude. This is crazy. Anyway, this match was actually built up based on a tag match that AJ Styles and Seth Rollins had when AJ interrupted Seth's celebration, right? And then he says, I respect you. And Seth Rollins is like, you've earned this. And instead of a curb stomp, he offered his hand in friendship and respect. And they shook hands, and then boom, here comes the Judgment Day. Screw your respect. Y'all are some punk ass bitches. We're the Judgment Day, even though Rhea Ripley's better than all of us. And so they come out and they're talking their smack, and it's a tag match. And you can tell it's going to lead to these two guys going. I said this last week. There's concern that Rollins defending every week is going to lessen the championship. I disagreed with it then. I disagree even more with that now. Seth Rollins can put on a top shelf match with anyone. When you put him in there with somebody as educated as Damian Priest, and remember, Damian Priest is the guy that pretty much taught Bad Bunny what's up. Damian Priest is the guy that built those matches with Bad Bunny and made Bad Bunny look so good. And he was the first celebrity that people were like, yo, that guy did his thing in there. Like, that's, when I say educated, that's what I mean. Like, he can make other people look great as well. These two dudes were awesome. There was even a bit of a story in the match because they allowed it to build up. Like, it was like an old school WCW, like, here's a quick 2-week story, and this is how we'll get there. There'll be a tag match, and then you two will have beef, and it'll lead to this. But I love this, and I love that these matches get tons of time. It was 20 plus minutes for sure. It felt like a pay-per-view match because there was a bit of story and it was still fresh in my head. And these two guys kicked ass all night long. And as long as Seth Rollins can stay healthy, this story works for him, being I'm going to be the hardest working man in the show. He's James Brown. He's James friggin' Brown.
Which is good for him, too. He's getting the most screen time out of anybody. Like, really, it's the Seth Rollins show for sure. Like, in the last few months, it feels like. But he's earned it, and he's great. And I'm still not sold on this belt. And which is, you brought it up in the news earlier about the new women's belt that says undisputed.
Yeah.
You like Mortal Kombat?
What, the video game?
Yeah.
I was a Street Fighter 2 guy. Don't hate me, but I'm educated on Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat did this thing recently. And trust me, this is related, guys and listeners. They did a thing where they were like, everyone's thinking Mortal Kombat 12's coming out. Mortal Kombat 12's coming out. Or maybe some sort of different version of a Mortal Kombat. Some sort of like Mortal Kombat X2 or so whatever. And what they did is they go, nope, we're re-releasing Mortal Kombat 1. We're resetting the canvas. Raiden has reset the timeline, and it's a blank canvas, and you're getting Mortal Kombat 1 all over again with all the modern-day graphics, with all the new whatever, but he's reset the storyline. I wish someone would do that with wrestling. All these belts are going in the trash. There's no USA Championship. There's no, TV USA thing. It's like there's no 24/7, which I know they did get rid of. There's no whatever. But like, let's just reset the canvas. We have a championship belt that everyone's clawing at. Everyone wants to try to get. We have an IC belt that all the middleweight guys are trying to get their hands on. And you've got tag team belts. That's it. We don't need all these other offshoot belts. I know the argument is there's so much talent in that locker room that they need a bunch of belts. But it's like, I don't know. Like, it seems like a lot of belts.
That's an interesting look. It's two schools of thought, right? Like the old school is the belt lets the fans know consciously and subconsciously that the company's getting behind this guy. The new school is give them a story and we'll know you're behind it. It does. The belt doesn't matter.
Right.
The wrestler makes the belt, not vice versa. But in the room, there, I wouldn't say it's an equal number of young minds and old minds, but it definitely, they have a bit of both. But the old minds are in charge. And I think that would be such a hard philosophy to sell, no matter how well you could sell it. I mean, you could sell it as well as you did your medieval times pitch. And I just don't know if the old heads could wrap their minds around getting rid of titles that their friends created, that their friends made mean something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would be
I don't
too much.
see
now,
it happening,
that said,
but in my mind, it's like, you got this many belts. You know what that means? That just means nobody cares about the belts. Nobody's going, holy crap, he's the, international, regional, corporate West Coast TV title. Is like, what are we doing?
now that title's a little too long. All right. You need to trim it a bit. But I hear what you're saying. I was going to try to say, well, Austin Theory, but Austin Theory didn't make the belt mean something. He made himself mean something.
Yeah. Anyways.
I see what you mean. It's a good point that I don't think will ever be addressed.
Also, why does it say undisputed on the women's new belt? Yeah, I've never even liked that word in wrestling. Everything is very disputed. It's very, very disputed. We have a lot of disputes.
Even the title exchanges are disputed with like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Like that is a disputed loss of the title.
Constantly disputed.
To this day.
Yeah, physically disputed, verbally disputed. There's so many disputes going on about this belt.
Multiple decades later, there's still a dispute.
Yeah. All right, sorry, that was another sidetrack on my part.
You're good. If there's any other Raw stuff you want to talk about, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm moving forward.
The Seth Rollins show is complete. I think we've talked about it this week. That's really what it is.
We have never discussed an Orange Cassidy match.
Right. Yeah. You're not crazy about the character wrestlers.
Well, I just didn't connect to what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they opened the show this week. Or last week, the show comes out a week after it. And I think I finally see it. I saw how the crowd reacted and his commitment to this. It's not an I don't care attitude. It can come off like that. And I think it did to me. But when you really start to watch, it's more like I'm just living in the moment. And yeah, I care about the title, but the title's not me. So I'm going to keep it in this backpack instead of around my waist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to let the title change me. Yeah, I'm hurt and I'm wrestling every single week and I'm wrestling hurt, but this is the commitment I made and I'm not going to hide the pain. Yeah, it hurts. It sucks, but I'm going to wrestle anyway. I've been watching this guy's promos and I think I get it. And he was wrestling. The only reason I was going to watch was because it was Swerve Strickland. And I love Swerve Strickland.
Yeah. He's a star.
And I want to talk about their match because their match was awesome. But I've turned the corner and I believe I've seen the light. And I may start squeezing the juice, man. I may start squeezing it.
I'm a big Orange Cassidy guy, and you've made me a big Swerve guy only in the last few months. Like I guess I just haven't been.
So what was it about him that made you go, oh, this dude's cool? Like tell me, because I'm just now getting there.
Oh, with Orange Cassidy?
Yeah.
Because he's funny. It was just always funny. And so like I'm such a mark about like when he would do the thing where like the way the crowd was, I guess that's what really got me into it, is that the crowd was so into all the things. I wanted to be one of the people that's like in the crowd who knows all the little things he's about to do, all the little jokes. And it works so much while being like funny. And at first I thought, I'm not crazy about this kind of stuff where you have to play along with their bullcrap. Like I don't generally like that. Like there used to be a wrestler whose name we don't speak of anymore, but his gimmick was that you grab his penis and then he's able to flip you over with it, but you kind of have to play along like he's magic or whatever. Now, I used to go, this is so stupid. Now I've got to I've got credibility as like some wrestler. I finally move up to the ranks where they're putting me at least on television, and now I got to do this thing I got to play along with this guy's dumb thing. But I think Orange Cassidy's a perfect. He's right. He's on the right scale of having to do it. Like you still have to play along with this thing, but he's still a wrestler. He's still great. He's not afraid to get like dinged up in the ring. He's got like he'll bleed. He'll get like welts. He get like he does the chest slaps. He does all the things still, but it still fits this kind of funny gimmick. It always looks like he's wrestling in jeans, which aren't real jeans. They're just designed to look like jeans. I don't know. I just think everything he does it's funny while also being enough fake real to me.
Yeah, that's interesting because the same thing that I used to be like, I don't do that with like the little baby tap kicks.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, man, don't do that. Like, and now I'm like, the last couple of matches that I've watched him do, and I haven't spoken about him because I didn't realize it until this last match that I was actually digging it and connecting to it. And now I'm seeing the other wrestlers kind of be into it as well and committing to it. And I've legit come around on this dude, man. And the match was awesome. Like he did his thing. There's something different and cool. He's just cool.
Yeah.
He's just cool. There's something cool about him. And I don't think I gave him enough credit when I first saw him because he doesn't look like he would be the cool guy. It's like a cool gimmick. But no, he's actually like really friggin' cool.
Once he proved to me that he was a real wrestler, like it wasn't just the gimmick, he's not just tossing the pizza dough around the whole time, like for a Instagram reel. It's like, that kind of wrestling gimmick, but it's enough of it, but it's enough of it that it's still great. Also, this match, I don't know if you guys like old schoolboys and roll-ups, but this match had a ton of them. It was just roll up after roll up into a reversal roll up. I mean, there was a lot of schoolboy. Is that what it's called? Schoolboys?
Schoolboys.
A lot of schoolboys in this match, if you're into that. But anyways, I like Swerve. I like Cassidy. I wish Swerve would have won. I think Swerve should be like a champ. Like I want him to have the gold. And again, this goes back to my famous thing I always say is that like Orange Cassidy's just funny and interesting enough that he doesn't need to be champ.
But I'm going to have a whole episode about Orange Cassidy. It's not goofy funny like Santino Marella,
right,
who I love, right? Like I love Santino. I know he wasn't for everybody, but I love the Cobra. Okay. To me, that's like I'm not saying it's one of the best finishers in the game, but it's one of my favorite finishers in the game because of comedy wrestling. But it crossed the line big time. You could argue Orange Cassidy crosses the line, but I feel like even when he does, he hops back so quick over the line that you're like, wait, maybe he didn't cross the line. I'm going to watch more closely next time. So shout out to that guy, man. Like I feel like I'm a tough critic, and he's earned my respect, man, or is in the process of earning it. I know all I know is I like watching him now.
You're a way less tough critic than me. I'll put our producer Alex in there.
You're mean.
You're a way less tough of a critic than most wrestling fans. I think you're very reasonable. I think you're very good when it comes to that.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman's going to wrestle Adam Cole.
What did you think about that promo?
There's things I love and things that I did not. It's going to happen way too fast based off this promo. Everything happened way too fast in the promo. They let him talk forever, which leads me to believe it was because you have to tell the whole story here because it's happening around the corner. I think the match isn't even a pay-per-view. I hope that this goes multiple matches. It just left me with an empty feeling of it's just going to go one, like the Ricky Starks thing. So it won't actually be a feud. I think Adam Cole is credible enough on the mic and a compelling enough storyteller that you could have multiple matches against MJF and draw this out a bit. So I'm hopeful this first match ends in a no contest somehow, and they get creative on, I'm not saying a double count out because that sucks, but something that happens that prevents the match from continuing, and then you get a longer story. Because it felt, even though it was like a 20-minute talk segment, it felt rushed and it felt forced. And you guys know how much I love MJF, and you guys know how much I love Adam Cole. I've talked about how I started off not digging him, and then all of a sudden I'm saying, baby, but I wanted to like this much more than I did, and it certainly left me wanting more. But it is the champ, and I feel like we have to talk about the champ's story.
This is going to sound hypocritical and strange to come out of my mouth, and I'd love to hear your take on my take, and I'd love to hear our producer Alex's take on this also. But it felt mean-spirited, which is the whole point of MJF, right? Like, that's his whole thing, is that he just talks trash, and he says, like, that's the whole point. So the things that I like about MJF in other promos, for whatever reason, this one came off different. It didn't feel funny and fun. It felt like he was really just digging at this at Adam Cole. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint what the difference was between this promo and then the other ones. It just felt like, oh, why is he doing that? Or like, why is he saying that? I don't know why it was different. It just felt mean.
I'll say this, and I'm not correcting you in any way. I'm 100% certain everything was intentional and cooperative.
Okay.
100%. I believe the intent was to have him be mean.
Right.
And Adam Cole's response to the cruelty, I thought he handled very beautifully. And then the piss cup thing was awesome. Like that was great. But I guarantee you both sides knew and were okay with everything that was said on that microphone. I get just knowing what I know and knowing who I know in that scenario, it was 100% mutual.
Okay.
That said, you didn't like what you didn't like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if that's not the MJF you're wanting to see, then that's not the MJF you're wanting to see. So you're not wrong. But to me, it just felt like we have to tell everything now because this is going to happen once, and then there's other plans in the future. And I hope that's not the case because these two guys can tell a friggin' story.
Yeah.
I believe everything they did was prearranged and mutually agreed upon, but I also agree that it didn't resonate with you the way it needed to resonate with you.
Yeah. Just like referencing Vince McMahon by name and saying like he didn't think you're a top
but
guy.
they've
like, all
broken
that stuff.
He's broken that wall. Max has certainly broken that wall multiple times. He's broken that wall multiple times. He's talked about his good friend Triple H. Like he's gone there plenty of times. It's just in this capacity because I think he's trying new stuff. And maybe I should have phrased it this way. I think he's trying to evolve his character, and this promo felt like growing pains.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he has to, like you'll go on stage and you'll experiment with some stuff and see how it plays. You're like, I don't even think it's going to work. I just need to get these jokes out there to see if I'm wrong.
Try it out.
And I think, and he's young, dude. He's like 26 years old. I think he has to be able to experiment with this character on live friggin' television every week, especially with the amount of freedom he's given. He should take advantage of that and experiment. And I think we have to give a little bit of latitude in that. So long as the stories remain true. If a story remains false, you call people out on that.
Yeah.
I've made movies where I'm like, while we're making them, like, I should have reread this script. Like it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it happens to every artist. Not every Picasso was perfect. I guarantee you he ripped a bunch of them up or sold some of them and was like, I can't believe somebody bought that piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's just what artists go through. It's a torturous life. There's a lot of self-hate. So I think this is a bit of an evolution and he's trying to find this angrier, more intense thing. I believe that. All right, dude. Friday Night SmackDown. This is all I got to say. Jay friggin' Uso is awesome. The reasons why I love him, I feel like his character comes off as the most unpredictable character in wrestling. I've been thinking about this guy a lot. Everything he does is from his entrance, the way he rubs his hands together, the way his eyes dart back and forth, looking at everybody in the ring. You almost, outside of he's not going to turn on his brother. And if they do that, kudos to having the balls to do that. But they're not gonna. He's such like a firework. You don't know if it's going to go off or not. You don't know what colors are going to come out. You just don't know. And he keeps that energy throughout. He made me watch him more than Paul Heyman in a Paul Heyman promo. And that's hard to do. Paul Heyman is the second greatest manager in the history of professional wrestling. Like that, behind Bobby Heenan. So and in modern wrestling, he's the only manager that's worth listening to. But it's tough. Like I love this guy so much. I don't know how to shine him enough. I don't know how to blow enough smoke at him. Because even if the dialogue isn't great, he's finding ways to save it. And that's the kind of praise deserved for actors that are like top shelf dudes. And I'm not trying to say Jay is Daniel Day-Lewis or Robert Downey Jr. for those who don't know who Daniel Day-Lewis is. But what he's able to do on Monday Night Raw, whether it's solo by himself or within the context of or the construct of his brother, is something that I think needs to be recognized by people. This dude is like, there's something there, and I'd love to see them tap into it even more. I think they are. I think Paul Heyman sees it. That's why he's doing this You're the Whole Next Leader of the Bloodline thing. But this made me want to watch a match that had no buildup whatsoever against Austin Theory, the United States champion. But yeah, man, I friggin' love this. This to me was the show. None of the other matches mattered to me. They even had Escobar and Mustafa, and we love both those guys, and they had a good match. But all I cared about was getting to see this and what Jay was going to do. I freaking loved this. It was really good television. What about you?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I wish that they would make the Bloodline this huge family, right? Like just like, which it is obviously, but I mean, like, I wish that they would make it this big family that we're all aware of. Like, holy shit, that's the Bloodline. But when I used to watch really good,
I would love that.
Really good factions like the Hart Foundation, I was never worried that one of them might turn on the other. I was never like sitting there thinking like, oh, Shawn Michaels might kick Triple H in the face and DX will start.
Yeah, because he did every week anyway, and they stayed bros.
But I'm saying, like, I don't know. I think like with the New Day. Are you ever worried that like the guy like that, like Kofi's gonna, hit
Hell no.
Big E with a chair? Like we just know them as the thing. We're so used to, I think wrestling fans are so conditioned to be like, this is gonna be like when Roman Reigns turned on the Shield. Yeah, like we can have a group without needing to think, is someone gonna go rogue? Is somebody gonna quit? It's okay to just have a faction that is a faction. And if you just grow that bloodline, because there's so many great Samoan guys of yesteryear and that are coming up, that you can just keep making it this that is like the nucleus of wrestling is the bloodline,
You just gave me an idea. You know how you evolved their storyline? You remember in the 80s that show Dallas, the Ewing family?
Oh, yeah.
You turn it into that. You start bringing in these monarchs of the family and you bring them in on a regular basis. And they're suddenly like, and you turn it into like a nighttime soap opera, which is what it is already. But you can, like you said, you can broaden that spectrum by bringing in actual family members and their allegiances and who they're with and how they're going to help them. I guess a better example would be Game of Thrones, but I've never seen it. So.
I've never seen it. But I will say this is like, why does everyone want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Why can't The Rock be like, I would never fight anybody in the bloodline. That is my bloodline. And he just keeps
I love that.
interfering to defend Roman Reigns and say nobody touches the bloodline, like long live, like, because The Rock's old. I mean, The Rock isn't super old, but he's
easy.
He's not. It's not like
easy.
It's not like if he has a match in 5 years against Roman Reigns in a pay-per-view, it's going to be like this memorable Rock match, like from 2001.
It'd be even better, is what you mean.
Well, I mean, I just wish that he would defend, like, that we should keep this bloodline as this pure thing. I don't need to think every week that Jey Uso is going to snap and maybe turn on somebody. But either way, I love what they're doing with it regardless. And I
think the bloodline can become strong again the way you want it to. I think it had to, based on the Roman Reigns character's behavior.
Right.
It had to lead to this eventually. But dude, they made it last a long friggin' time, Jeff.
Yeah, that's true.
A long time.
And I like it.
And it's the best story in wrestling.
Keep it alive. Bring Rikishi over. Bring all his kids over. They're just like, there's enough people that we can make that work. The NWO, there's no blood about the NWO. So like there's no like real link. So at least
well, there were links. I think it was called Narcotics, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's hardly a group, that's hardly a because the Hart Foundation, they weren't afraid to go, yeah, the British Bulldog is with all these Canadians, and like, yeah, he married one of the Harts. So like they weren't afraid to like say like this is a family and whatever, even if the gimmicks seem to clash in uniform, it doesn't.
No, I love it, dude. You're full of good ideas today, from medieval times all the way to the bloodline.
All the way to getting rid of all those belts.
Yeah, and you wanted to lose all the titles that have meant so much to men and women and the history of wrestling, and you just want to throw it all away. Get rid of the Hall of Fame,
and the challenge.
too.
I said bring in the challenge. I'm full of good and bad ideas.
You already told us your match of the week. It's time to close the show, my friend.
Yes, sir.
If you'd like to discuss it at further length, we could. My match of the week was Seth Rollins, not Seth freaking Rollins. He's just Seth Rollins to me. And by the way, he's dressing nice. He's wearing black, a lot of more black in his clothes to match his belt. He's not dressing like Elton John every single week, so he's looking like a champion. Versus Damian Priest, the Prince of Puerto Rico. Has anybody been called Prince of Puerto Rico? Should be him. These two dudes are awesome, and they make their opponents look great, even when they're going to win the match. And most of the time, they both are always winning the match, and they always make the opponent look like they could possibly lose that night. And when you get two guys in the ring who all they do is sell, and make people look good, and as creative as they were, like he interrupted the Falcon Arrow combo that Seth does, and then he interrupted the interruption, which is like borderline video game awesomeness. Just to see that level of creativity as well, especially see it work and be executed like that. This was my match of the week. I just think these guys are awesome. It can't be a story, unfortunately, but he could always come back and go after that title again with a story somehow. That was my match of the week. Jeff, what'd you think of that match?
So I agree with while you were talking, I started thinking about it. No, dude, you're the Prince of Puerto Rico. Your papa was the King of Puerto Rico, and Prinze is in the name. You can't give away that nickname. That's got to be yours, dude. You're the Prince of Puerto Rico for sure. The Prinze of Puerto Rico, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Let's go.
I did like that match. Obviously, I think Damian Priest is just a stud. I love what he's doing. I love that he's proving that he can be that leader in there, like kind of take the lead. And he did that, obviously, which we already talked about with Bad Bunny. Honorable mention of my it was my second for match of the week. It wasn't necessarily the Shinsuke versus Ricochet match, but I did like that Bronson Reed came in and just mowed over everybody. I like that.
Of course you did. I love that he can't stand on the top rope long enough to balance. He's so big that as soon as one foot touches it, he has to jump right away. He's like, dude, I ain't risking it. Forget y'all. As soon as this foot touches, I'm gone. So you better be ready.
And also, isn't that fun? They didn't need him to come in and squash some jobber. They didn't let him have a match where he was going to beat a guy fairly or beat a guy unfairly. Just have him come in and start smashing up dudes, and just beat up Shinsuke and Ricochet. I like that. It was very felt like Braun Strowman-esque when Braun Strowman first came to WWE. I liked it.
That it did, sir. Tell the people where you're going to be this weekend.
This week I am in Boca Raton, Florida, and then I think I go to Sarasota, Florida soon. I'm going to be in Arizona. I got Denver coming up. So just go to jeffdye.com and check out all those dates.
Wrestling with Freddie. Thanks for listening. And don't forget Thursday's bonus content, which we're recording right now. Don't you wish you could listen? You have to wait. Peace.
Follow us on Instagram, Wrestling with Freddie. Twitter is WWFreddie Pod. Follow us on all the socials so you can submit your questions for the Federation.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.